How can you tell?
Well,
How can you tell? Hang on,
oh
my
my.
shoes. Yes, that.
All right.
Second.
It's no secret, or I don't think it's a secret, that there are times that we sign on. We could use another 10, 20 minutes to get ready to sign on.
No, that's too many minutes. I'm ready. I was born ready, is what someone says about things.
Yeah, right. You hear people say things like
I
that.
was born, I'm definitely not born. You know who wasn't born ready? Alice Maltin. Alice Maltin has never been ready on time a day in her life. And it's just one of her many beautiful
was a day.
quirks. One?
August 4th, I think.
Oh, was it a nice one?
1971. Can't remember
Oh,
what happened
1971. That's a good
that day.
year.
I remember she was on time.
That's a good year. It's important to know these things.
But I don't want to start out negative.
No, that's not our way, is it?
No.
Not a negative bunch.
Not our credo.
Here we go. Well, we're working on all the platforms, and that's all I can really ask for.
Well, I accept that.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay. Oh my! So my dad has had quite a couple of days for movie watching.
Yeah.
Quite a couple of days. Really ranging from things you would expect him to watch to things you maybe would not expect him to watch to things that he wishes he hadn't watched. Which of them can you talk about?
I think I can talk about all of them.
All right.
So we might as well start with the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room named Joker, and the new Joker movie, not the Joker, just Joker.
Yeah.
Is subtitled Folie à deux.
Folly.
Which folie.
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 Folie à deux.
Yeah, which means they're both crazy.
Yeah.
He and the new character introduced, who is supposedly Harley Quinn.
Yes. Kind of Harley Quinn, but not Harley Quinn, but kind of Harley Quinn. Yeah.
Why am I sitting crooked? Why am I leaning that way?
You're always crooked. It's just part of who you are.
I guess so.
I accept you for always being at odd angles.
So
he hasn't seen Metropolis yet. He hasn't seen
Megalopolis.
Sorry, Metropolis. I am tired, I will tell you. He has not seen Megalopolis yet.
Yeah, and I really want to. And there are several times this week when I thought I was on the verge of going to see it.
Yeah.
My wife and I. And we decided we were too tired.
Yeah.
Or the timing was wrong.
Are you still going to go tonight to see?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well,
okay.
Yeah, if mommy's up to it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
They want to go see The
Brutalist.
The Brutalist. That's what they want to go see. 3 hours, 3.5 hours?
3 hours, 15 minutes, including an intermission. An intermission.
Ooh, an intermission.
That would be the first film I've seen with an intermission in a long, long time.
That's exciting.
That in itself is worth,
Is it a screening or is it at
the
movies like a person?
It's a screening privé.
Oh, very fancy.
Yeah, private screening.
Very fancy.
Folie à deux. What's the idea? What's with the French subtitle? Huh?
Because Gaga is so European, broad. I don't know. I did see a clip of it today where Joaquin Phoenix is dancing. He's tapping.
Yeah.
And bless him, he's going for it. And the comments were all, who the hell thought this should be a musical?
Yeah.
And
by the way, he has a very nice singing voice.
He does, yeah. Which we heard a little bit of when he played Johnny Cash.
Right.
Obviously, he was doing an impression, but he still, he sold it. God knows he sold it.
Yeah. I wasn't buying this one, though.
No? I mean, but did you like that? I don't remember. Did you like
the
first one?
Probably I didn't like
not.
The first one.
Yeah.
I did not care for the first one.
Yeah.
And this one has even less reason for being.
Oh, that's exciting.
And we saw it on IMAX. We were on opening day. I think Friday was opening day.
Yes.
On Friday.
Well, Thursday. Who knows anymore? Because they always do those Thursday nights. That's right.
We were at the first screening of the day.
Yeah.
At Grauman's Chinese Theater, which has an enormous IMAX screen.
Mm-hmm.
But the size of the screen did not enhance the
Didn't make the movie better
on the screen.
That'll do it. Craig is saying the last film I saw with an intermission was Kenneth Branagh's 4-hour Hamlet in 1996, and you're still sitting in that audience today. Yes, I'm sorry if you were saying, I'm sorry that we weren't here last week. I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, guys, but I actually am a World War II soldier. which is what I told the specialist the other day.
My daughter is a hands-on full-time mom.
Now look, here's the thing, you just have schmutz on you. When I get sick, guys, I don't go halfway. Okay? I don't know if you know this about me. If something's going to go wrong with me, it's going to be significant and probably ridiculous. Both of these things. I last Friday woke up with a very swollen mouth, very swollen gums, and it felt like my teeth were being pushed out. It was horrible. Then my tongue swelled, all these things. And we spent a couple of days trying to figure out what it was. I spent the weekend in excruciating pain. And then Monday got an emergency visit to my dentist, who said, this looks bad. I don't know what it is, but it's bad. And I'm going to send you to a specialist, which he did. Then I saw this very nice specialist, and the very nice specialist says to me with a straight face, he goes, are you under a lot of stress? And I genuinely did a spit take because he had some stuff in my eye. I just went, and he was like, do I take that as a yes? I said, yeah, you could say that. You could say I'm under a bit of stress. I have what they called back in World War II, trench mouth. Doesn't that sound delightful?
Yeah.
They called it that because they would get so stressed that they would hurt themselves. And in my case, because I have so many autoimmune diseases, which means I get, I get everything really easily anyway, added to stress, so says doctor, plus some new medications that I've had to switch around a little bit, I now have this. Now, I don't know about you guys, but nothing gives me less stress than the doctor bill. So I do love this man saying to me, you need to try and decrease your stress, as he says, and I'm going to need about $17 billion to fix your mouth. So I don't want to call him, Hypocrite would, yeah, that's a good word. Perhaps, sir, if I'm so stressed that you need to operate on my mouth 4 times, maybe don't make the bill so crazy. Anyway, I'm now finally mostly functioning. It's pretty good. Now, my theory as to why this happened when it did is because God has a sense of humor. Don't know if you know that. Has a sense of humor.
Yes.
Tuesday, my dad and I got to go to Disney to Soundstage 2, which is where they filmed Mary Poppins. And
it's a big soundstage. Big
old soundstage. And we were interviewed for a special that's going to be coming out in November because I guess it's the 70th anniversary of Mary Poppins.
Done by ABC News to air the night before Thanksgiving. That's what they told us. Things can change.
Yeah.
And often do. They're going to supposedly show this the night before and then show the actual film on Thanksgiving Day,
which they always do. Some network always does. Why? Because as a kid, I especially remember going and sitting in your bed at the old house and watching Stay Awake, full of tryptophan, and going, this isn't promising. 60th anniversary. There you go. I'm not good at remembering these things. But yeah, so we'll see. So hopefully right in that week of Thanksgiving, you'll be able to see it. They've interviewed all kinds of people. Both Greg Sherman and Jeff Sherman are taking a big part. That is the Sherman brothers' sons. Collectively brothers,
right?
Robert and Richard, their sons. But yeah, it was, I had a very swollen mouth and I was trying to speak clearly, which was amusing for me. The word Poppins, I just avoided completely because it was coming on my tongue. It was coming out wrong. But yeah, so that was a bit of our, do we have a Jesse Maltin GoFundMe towards medical bills? Bless you. I don't think there's enough money in the world for the medical bills, for anybody really, because woof. I never realized Elsa Lanchester was in it until later on. Yeah, no, there's a lot of people, a lot of faces that once you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's definitely.
And Elsa Lanchester was a godmother.
Yeah.
To Karen Dautrice.
Yep. For the full circle moment. Yeah, which is why I've never really asked Karen about her. I realize And even when we interviewed her,
Well,
we didn't ask her about it. I
She
didn't.
it just sort of went by.
Yeah.
I think Charles Lawton, Elsa's husband, was their godfather too.
Yeah. Yeah. I should ask her about that because I'm sure it's interesting. Anyway, so that was a bit of our week. But then what else? I feel like you just saw so much on Friday. So Friday you went to see Joker, and then you went to see The Apprentice.
The Apprentice,
which
opens next Friday, the 11th.
Yes. But what do I say about why he can talk about it? He liked it.
Yeah. Oh no! In fact, they were saying, if you're on social media, please
talk
to everybody.
Yeah.
This is a film that was very difficult to finance and very difficult to distribute.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Ortenberg, who's an old pro at doing that, having run several distribution companies,
Mm-hmm.
is behind the opening of the film, which these days, if you don't do well your first weekend,
they don't care, which is very strange. But
talk about stress.
Yeah.
But it's a really good film. It is not a hatchet job. It is not a let's get Donald Trump film.
Mm.
It's really a biopic in the most conventional sense of that term. The only thing that undercuts it ever so slightly is that wonderful documentary that came out about 2 years ago on Roy Cohn.
Which you loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta get the name of it so I can plug it properly.
It's like our Roy Cohn, isn't it? My Roy Cohn, something like that.
Something like that.
I think it's My Roy Cohn.
Jeremy Strong plays Roy Cohn brilliantly.
Where's My Roy Cohn?
My Roy Cohn?
There it is.
Yep.
2019.
Is it streaming?
Prime. Yeah.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. You can watch it.
That's really worth
You can
seeing.
rent it from $3.59.
Thank you. Plus tax?
Don't get detailed on me now, man.
Anyway, Jeremy Strong is great. And Sebastian Stan, who I don't have a strong sense of. I mean, I've seen him in a lot of films.
I think he's fantastic. I didn't see this movie, but in general, I think he's fantastic.
He plays Donald Trump, and he plays him really well.
Mm.
I mean, there's some makeup tricks, and such involved, but his performance is so solid.
Mm.
He's not doing exactly nightclub act mimicry.
Yeah.
But he looks and sounds like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And there's certainly no negativity in the portrayal. It's not a judgmental performance.
Yeah. Well, because it's not meant to be recent, thankfully. It's not like it's now.
No.
So.
And you at the beginning of the film, you find yourself rooting for this guy because he is kind of an underdog. He's belittled by his own family, has a very troubled relationship with his father, who's a successful real estate developer, and then he meets Roy Cohn, the most vicious and simultaneously most successful lawyer in New York City. Indicted something like 67 times, no convictions.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a man who believes that you do whatever it takes to win your case or to keep your case out of court. And so that's the dynamic of the film. And it's very well done. And it's the writer and director are unknown to me. The director has a couple of films to his credit that have been well received. And I'm going to have trouble in the future because assessing careers, because so many people are either getting into the business or making their bones on horror films.
Yeah.
And I can't watch horror films.
Because it is October, I've gotten several emails pitching different folks. Hey, do you want to speak to so-and-so? They started the franchise this. Hey, do you want to speak to this person? It's spooky season. You want to speak to someone about this? And I have to keep very politely writing back and saying, my dad has never seen any of these movies, never will watch any of these movies. I'm really sorry. I so appreciate it, but it's just not. So yeah, we do have to keep saying sorry. Chris is saying, I just don't want to spend 2 hours with the subject of The Apprentice. I'd rather get a root canal. I understand that. And
enjoy
I respect
that.
I very much, I get it.
Take nitrous oxide.
There you go.
And you'll have a little experience while you're having your root canal.
Right. And that's the tough thing. I'll go back just a little bit to, all of us living through crazy COVID, and you had different filmmakers either doing documentaries or films where it was part of it, stuff like that. And the experience I kept having was, I don't want to do this again. I've done this. I've lived through this. I don't want it. And I think it's hard because on the one hand, I understand why an artistic person would be drawn to this subject, especially something like this, like COVID, which was, literally global. I get why you'd want to make something, but at the same time, I have absolutely no desire to watch this. And so I understand that when you have Donald Trump as, the lead of a film, the character is there, you may not want to do that. And that's okay. And I don't think anybody would judge you because woof.
Thursday night in my class,
Yeah.
I showed Saturday Night, which I watched for the second time because I saw it in Telluride.
And you said you liked it more the second time.
I did because the first time I was too busy comparing it to my own memory of that first show and of that period in New York and all of that. And this time through, it didn't matter as much.
Yeah.
I just took it on its surface terms.
Yeah.
And it's a very it's a good-hearted movie, I think, and it's fun to watch. The irony for me is that I was working at that moment. Well, Alice and I were living in New York, so we knew New York in the 70s,
Mm-hmm.
and I was working for Alan King, who, besides being a successful stand-up comedian, was an active producer. And he and his partner were producing a new show for ABC called Saturday Night Live, hosted by Howard Cosell. And they were trying to position Howard Cosell as the new Ed Sullivan. In other words, a stick figure who would point and say, here they are,
Yeah.
The Supremes, whatever.
Yeah.
And I had nothing to do with that show, but I was in their rather small suite of offices on Fifth Avenue. So I overheard a lot. I was once slapped on the thigh hard by Mr. Cosell, who decided on the punchline of a joke he was telling that it needed that. I didn't need it, but he did. And after 13 weeks, Herb Sargent, a veteran comedy writer, an old friend of Alan's, said after 13 weeks, ABC called him in and pulled him out from under his rug. It's still one of my all-time favorite bon mots.
Toupee. Quickly, hi, Dave. Thank you for loaning us your wife. Daisy has decided that Clarabelle, because she calls her Clarabelle, lives in her room and disappears and reappears as she pleases, which amuses me very much. A dear friend of ours stays with us whenever she's in town. She stays in Daisy's room. And Daisy will turn around. Our friend's name is Claire, but Daisy calls her Clarabelle. And Daisy will go, Clarabelle appeared in my room. Clarabelle's in my bed. And it's just one of my favorite things because it is just so genuinely adorable. Yes. Hi, Eddie. Hi, friend. I want to go back just a second because Liz is saying, do you think actors feel this too? In terms of portraying a person that they don't actually want to spend time with. Because he's saying hard to say no to a job. I think that something that I've heard over and over and over again, actors will say, I cannot judge my character.
Right.
I can't look at a project and judge them because this is how you have somebody play a serial killer. This is how you have somebody play a murderer because none of us want to feel like that's something inside of us. But in order for them to play that part, they have to find the piece of them that can. So I think it really just depends. It depends on if you read something and you think I could do a really great job with this, then you take it. Obviously on the other side of it is if it's something that you just want no part of, then you don't. But I think it's tricky sometimes. I think a couple of people are talking about the horror stuff. So the thing about my dad is that he loves the Universal monsters, loves the original Universal monsters.
I'm wary as ever that they're doing a new Wolfman movie.
Leave him alone.
I understand the challenge. I understand the temptation.
Yeah.
I mean, with today's visual effects and makeup advancements, there's a lot of opportunity there. But the last time they did it, it was a major foul up, which I think hastened Rick Baker's retirement.
Yeah, right.
Not fooling.
Yeah. We always say, the thing is, we don't mind horror. We mind gore. I don't like gore.
Yeah.
So yeah, all those Saw movies, things like that. I don't want to watch. Why would I want to watch that? Obviously I have a lot of friends who are obsessed, so I get that that's their thing too. But you know, for us, we'll watch horror and suspense.
Yeah. I like creepy films, eerie films.
Yeah.
Ghost stories.
Yeah. One of our favorites that we always talk about, especially this time of year, is Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, because the thing about it is it is gory, but it's funny. Like there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
It fits the film.
First off, it's a very, very precise parody of those Teens in the Woods movies.
So it's funny and it's well done and all of that. That's a big piece of it. But as I say, it's sort of like when you watch a movie and there's gratuitous nudity or gratuitous sex and you go, this is not serving the film. You just did this to do this. I feel like it's the same thing with certain horror films, is that you just did that to make people cringe versus, oh, that really moved the story. Or in the case of Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, it's so ridiculous that it's great. Again, you guys are asking really good questions. Chris, this is something that I said to my parents after they saw Saturday Night in Telluride. Chris is saying, would someone who doesn't watch SNL enjoy Saturday Night? Is it too insider info? And I think it's exactly what I said to my parents. Do you have to know who everybody is for this to be entertaining?
I think you can enjoy it as a movie because it never stops. It just keeps moving. Literally, it never stops moving.
It's supposed to be in real time. It's meant to be the 90 minutes before showtime for the very first show.
And Lorne Michaels is an unknown quantity to most of the other people in the film, especially the guards at the 30 Rockefeller Plaza. And it's played by Gabriel, who played Steven Spielberg in the Fabelmans.
Yeah.
Him. And he's very good. And Rachel Sennett.
Yeah.
Plays,
it's a lot of great people. It's a lot of really good actors. But yes, I was like, but a lot of people don't. Do people still know who Gilda Radner? Like, do people still know who these folks are? Does it matter? Is it good enough that you can just watch it as
I think it's good enough and lively enough, certainly.
That you'll watch it.
That you'll watch it and be entertained. Yeah. Obviously, the more you know, the more jokes you'll get, the more references you'll understand.
Yes.
I asked them, I had wonderful panel.
J.K. Simmons plays Milton Berle. And I said to my dad, I said, do young people know who Milton Berle? Hell, do not young people know who Milton Berle? You should. He's one of the funniest humans ever. And one of my favorite nicknames too, thief of bad gags. He used to steal a lot of jokes, but that happens. And I just love that you have Milton Berle in a current film. That brings me a great deal of joy.
I said to, you'll pardon my French now. I said to Jason Reitman at the end of the evening, I'll sleep better tonight knowing that there's a 2024 movie with a joke about Milton Berle's schlong. There, I've said it. I'm sorry.
Truly hilarious. Yeah. And Jason came to class, as he has many times, and he was great. And, the kids love him. He's very high energy.
He's a proud USC cinema grad.
Yeah.
Who, in fact, won awards for his student films. That's what got him started.
Yeah.
But he has, excuse me, sorry for this.
Drink here.
His first three feature films. First three were Thank You for Smoking, Up in the Air, and Juno. Now that is an enviable record. He had some ups and downs after that. Some films like First Man, which should have been more highly praised, I think. And some which didn't quite work as well. But he's a talented guy. And he set the new land speed record from a BAFTA event at the Pacific Design Center
with this.
down to USC. to join our panel, which consisted of the costume designer, Danny Glicker, the cinematographer,
that guy.
Eric.
Don't tap the table.
No. Eric Steelberg, not Spielberg, Steelberg, and the production designer, Jess Goncourt. And these guys have all worked with Jason before, but they've also worked with the Coen brothers and with their A-list people. And they liked the questions they got from my class.
Oh, I'm so
and
glad.
answered them really well.
Dave is saying, don't recommend seeing Terrifier 3 next week. You know what, my friend? You do not have to worry about that because we will not. Dave says, I can't wait to see Saturday night. Growing up in Australia, SNL was my idea of comedy. Letterman was my idea of a talk show. And funnily enough, Leonard was my idea of a movie commentator. There's a reason that we're friends, Dave. There's a reason. We all understand each other. No, it is... as I say, I'll be really interested to see what young people who are not familiar with all of the characters, how they feel about it. Somebody was just saying that they've heard that Dylan O'Brien as Dan Aykroyd was great. I don't doubt that for a second. He's a very talented young guy. A few folks are asking why Milton Berle is in the film. I don't know if it gives anything away.
No, it doesn't give anything away. He was not there that night. That's a fictitious, dramatized episode in this evening. Milton Berle was Mr. Television, was one of his nicknames.
Yep.
Because when he came on the air in 1948, 49, with the Texaco show, Texaco Star Theater, Milton Berle, to use one of his jokes, it was responsible for the sale of millions of television sets. I sold mine. My brother sold his. I didn't tell
the old ones are funny.
I like
you swallowed it, but I still enjoyed it. It was still good.
Anyway.
Oh, you haven't told we haven't said, by the way, Happy New Year to all of our fellow tribe members. Jewish New Year has just happened, and it is going through to the other holiest day of the year for us Jews, which is Yom Kippur. And my dad has a joke that he has told.
No.
Just say it because it's funny, and you've said it forever.
I don't have the numbers.
You don't know that it's 50. I only know because I had so many friends. How many times has my dad told this joke? Enough times that I had friends, more than one, send me a message saying, "Did your dad make the joke?" And I will tell you, it's 57 something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see. What year are we in? 5785. Where are we at? I think we're at 5785. Yes. 5785. Now make the joke.
Just when I got used to writing 5784 on my checks.
Same joke every year.
David Letterman. Stolen from David Letterman.
Yep. Anyway, I'm really interested to see how people react.
Well, Milton Berle, why is he in the film?
Yeah,
he's in the film because he, in fact, guest hosted Saturday Night Live one evening, I believe in that first season, I think. And he and Lorne Michaels and the other young writers like Michael O'Donoghue crossed swords so badly. It was like they were speaking two different languages, and they were, comedy-wise. And that episode was never rerun. It was pulled from the syndication package when they sold them off to TV stations, and never forgiven, never reshown. So this is Jason's
take
on that, and sort of a surrogate revenge.
Yeah.
On Lorne Michaels' behalf.
Ben says Letterman stole that joke from a Jack Benny writer. I don't doubt that for a second.
Jokes.
They live, they move, they change. It's, as I say, I'm really intrigued to see with that movie. There's a handful of films coming out that, to me, do not scream big box office.
Oh.
In kind of a good way.
We weren't here last week.
No, we were not.
And I didn't get to
Trench
plug
Mouth.
the Wild Robot.
There you go. Yes.
That is the best film playing in theaters right now. And it's one of the best films of the year. and one of the best animated features I've seen in a long, long time.
Evan says the Burl episode of SNL eventually was snuck back into the syndication package.
Oh, do tell.
Evan knows all. Continue.
Yes, he does. Evan also chimed in before that the only good horror movies are the ones with Abbott and Costello in them.
That's true.
Which is not untrue.
Yeah.
Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein is a great movie. Period. Which has a great score, which has just been newly re-recorded in Scotland.
Oh, okay.
And it will be available sometime soon.
I'm all for random fun facts.
Yeah.
But yeah, Robot, Wild Robot. You loved it.
What a wonderful film. My students, my 20-something students at USC adored it. They said it made them cry. It reminded them of the kind of films they saw when they were growing up that really spoke to them, moved them, made them feel like somebody related to them in some very special, primal way.
Mabel next to.
Oh, yeah.
There's a plush dog that Daisy has, and she puts it on the couch looking out the window. And right now Mabel's next to it. It's just very funny. I apologize. Go on.
Wild Robot is based on a book which I'm unfamiliar with, but Chris Sanders directed and was the head writer and produced it too.
Sorry. Ben Markton says the syndication package was also a nickname for Burl's schlong. Hey-o. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going.
It's a beautiful movie. It's truly a beautiful movie. And there's a point, and this is not a spoiler, there's a point where you think it's coming to an end. And then it doesn't. It keeps going. And I thought, don't lose.
Don't do the thing. Yeah.
Don't lose your grip here. They didn't. It's beautiful start to finish.
I'm so glad.
Physically beautiful.
Yeah.
And exquisite production design and rendering, the backgrounds and all of that. And beautiful from the heart. There's no cynicism in this movie.
Yeah.
There's a wise guy character, a sidekick character.
There has to be.
Voiced by Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
And he's very good. But it's a film that you could go to see without your kids. And
you did. And that is exactly what you did.
I did exactly that. Yeah.
No, it's funny. There's something about animation. I don't know. It's almost like animation is almost given permission to be sweeter. Like there's
you'll accept sentimentality.
Yeah.
In an animated film that you wouldn't accept in a live action film.
Yeah, that. And it just fascinates me because it's something where, as I say, a movie that I keep talking to people about because it really did get lost thanks to COVID was Onward. I think Onward is a really, really beautiful movie. And it's a shame that it got lost. It opened right before COVID went crazy and it just kind of got swallowed. And it's such a shame because, as I say, it's a really beautiful and well done movie. And it did exactly. I cried throughout. I think I've told you guys, I watched it. I made the terrible decision to watch it on a plane wearing my mask because it was still mask time. And my mask was soaked. I was crying so hard that my mask was absolutely soaking wet. And I just thought it was an absolutely beautiful movie. A few people are saying, Jonathan, what about Soul? We didn't really like Soul. I wanted to like it. We didn't really like it.
That was a big disappointment for me because I'm a jazz fan.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, this is going to be right up my alley. And
it didn't work for us.
It didn't work for me.
Any of us, which is always interesting. We watched it together. My mom, my dad, and I, we all watched it together, and none of us just didn't work for us. Saying Onward was above average for sure. I'll take that. I will take it was above average.
Random note.
Yes.
Joker Folie à Deux opens with a faux Looney Tune, which was done by Sylvain Chomet, who made the Triplets of Belleville and other such films. and it's okay.
It's there you go. Dave says the final unseen big hitter of the awards season is Chalamet's turn as Bob Dylan in A Complete Unknown. Is there anything else you think is an unknown quantity at this point? Well, Dave, you deal with so much more of that than we do, really, just with everything coming out. I don't know what else they're going to sort of.
Well, I'm curious about Robert Zemeckis' new film.
Yeah.
With Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And Robin Wright.
Yeah.
I'm curious about a whole lot of films.
Yeah, and there was a handful that you missed at Telluride that you really wanted to see. I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued. A few folks are asking about The Substance and if you would go see it.
Yeah,
because of the sort of yucky stuff.
I don't know. See, I have trouble. It's already masochistic enough being a film critic and sitting through the films that I sit through to the bitter end, to voluntarily walk into a theater to see a film that I know is going to gross me out. It's hard to justify.
But not against it. Not against it.
There are no rules. There are no rules.
We'll see what happens. Sorry, I lost the thing. 1 second. Oh, somebody's asked Maggie Smith. The last 2 weeks, I don't know how or why it always comes. Forget threes. At this point, it comes in 12s.
Right, waves.
Every day, more and more and more. John Amos, Ken Page, Maggie Smith, Gavin Creel. What else? Or who else? I should say. There's more.
I saw Ken Page on Broadway as Mr. Deuteronomy in Cats, and he was wonderful. And we enjoyed him on Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, that great series done by the original Disney Channel. And I'm sorry to learn of his passing.
He was just at D23 because he's also the voice of Oogie Boogie.
That's right.
So with all of the nightmares, yes, Chris Christopherson, that's right.
Oh, Chris
of Lyme disease, which is a whole other weird thing.
But he made it to 88.
Yeah, amen. 88, let's go.
Chris Christopherson was.
Was he born looking 100, or was that like
no? He was such a good leading man.
Mm-hmm.
He was been a good-looking guy, obviously, but he had a real presence and an intelligence that I think came through. He was a Rhodes Scholar and all of that. But besides the diplomas and the citations, he looked like a guy who was kind of.
Alice's Adventures in Wonderland is on Disney Plus. When did they put it on? When did that get there? That's exciting. Do you mean the right one or the? Sorry, now I have to look that up.
Yeah.
Chris Christopherson, and I love that he also really dug into his music. I love that he didn't choose between them. He said, "I want both," and he was excellent at both. So it makes me really happy. Oh no! So Alice's Adventures in Wonderland is not the one that we're talking about. The one. Hi, dogs. What is her name?
The one time I talked to the late Katherine Grant Crosby was at a tribute to Bing at the Academy. And I told her that the first time I'd seen.
So, sorry. The one that we watched and loved was just Adventures in Wonderland.
Oh, okay.
So is Adventures in Wonderland on there? It is. Apparently it's on Disney Plus. I'm sorry to yell. I'm very excited. That's exciting. Well, now I know what I have to go watch. I have to leave you all because I have to immediately go and There were 5 seasons? Oh, my God.
They shot it in Florida.
Yeah.
And
Armelia McQueen was the Red Queen, and she was fantastic.
They used all these Broadway people.
Mm-hmm.
And the Kyoto brothers did the
it's fantastic. I love it. So 3 or 4 years ago, Nick, I live in a bubble. I did not know, but I'm very excited, and thank you for telling me. Anyway,
I said to Katherine Crosby, the first time I saw her was in Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, and it was one of my all-time favorite films. And she said, I thought I was being punished. She was under contract to Columbia Pictures. She had to make the film. She had no choice. She couldn't turn it down. And she said, that's it. Now it's the only one anyone talks to her about. So it gave her some satisfaction after the fact.
Yeah.
that she'd made something that people loved and remembered.
Well, it is always interesting, sort of, when you're making things, none of us ever know how they're going to do. Not really. We don't know if something's going to be huge or if people are going to hate it or if it's going to be, it could also become a cult favorite where nobody saw it at the beginning and then they become obsessed with it years later. And so I always think for any actor or actress, or filmmaker or anybody involved, you just don't know. So you make things in part because it's your job and you need to work, but also, you hope it's going to have you hope it's going to have legs of some sort.
Yep.
So yeah, I just think it's incredible when we don't know and you see something and you say, oh, I hope this sticks. I hope that other people see it because I want stuff like this. They always say, how do we, we voice our opinions with our dollars.
Yeah.
And so, you put your money where your mouth is. If you want something, that's how you do it. Potentially controversial topic. Oh, Chris, is there a movie concession treat that Mr. Maltin and Jesse Maltin cannot stand? That's deep. You went deep this Sunday.
Red Devils, is that what they're called?
So we don't do cinnamon spicy things.
Yeah.
I like cinnamon, but not like the spicy. It's like your mom used to chew that gum, that cinnamon gum.
Yeah,
and I was why do you hate yourself? And then we don't do peanut butter. My theory on that, because you've all asked, neither of my parents eat peanut butter. My theory is because they were raised by old Jews didn't really eat peanut butter. It was like a goyish thing to have peanut butter and jelly and a glass of milk. That's my theory. So neither of them ever had that, like ever. And then raising me, I never had peanut butter and jelly ever. And I never had peanut butter ever.
Because it was never in the house.
It was never in the house. So as I got older, I just had no taste for it and continue to not have a taste for it. So if there are things that are peanut butter related, we don't eat those. But generally, we're a chocolate and popcorn family. And thank you for asking. Also licorice, obviously. I wish I could hear some of the songs from the Sherman Brothers that I never heard from theme parks and television. Well, they are, with Richard passing recently, they are digging some more stuff up. So we'll see.
And Randy Cartwright, who's been at Walt Disney Music for so many years, is a devotee and has done collections.
Yeah.
Sherman Brothers collections.
So it's all out there, thankfully, Peanut butter kind of is a Gentile thing. I don't know why. I didn't make the rules, but it appears to be a thing. And a lot of the kids that I grew up with who are also Jewish also never had peanut butter because their parents never had peanut butter. It's a weird thing. I don't ask questions. Hot tamales are a thing too. It's the same. Yeah, that red spicy cinnamon. But there are many that do this. Lynn says, I'm definitely goy. I love peanut butter. You enjoy it. My husband will eat an entire thing by himself. And I allow him to do that because thing? I love him. Jar, container.
Oh, okay.
Will we see Alice Maltin back on the stream? I love that you ask, and I will tell her that she's missed. My husband's been working a lot, and so if he's not here, nobody can take Daisy. And while Daisy joining us is a fun time, it also means we can't really pay attention to you. So next time my husband's not working, we will give Daisy to Daddy and we will bring Grandma down. And then you will have her because everyone deserves some Alice in their lives. Let me pull up some of your questions. We were asking, what scary movies do you like to watch this time of year? Spooky season, as people love to call it. Let me look.
Well, I just revisited Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Which just turned 20.
Mm-hmm.
And it holds up very well, I'm happy to say. I'd forgotten. I really had forgotten how grisly it gets in the in the third act.
Oh yeah.
And but what I like about it is its sense of humor. It's a good film because it combines genres.
Yeah.
Successfully. It is a comedy. It is a real bona fide horror film.
Yeah.
And it's heartfelt.
Yeah.
Because of Simon Pegg's relationship to his mom.
But all of it, there's sweetness in it because both
Oh wait, his relationship with Nick Frost.
Nick
too.
Frost and Brain help. Who you just said, the other actor.
Simon Pegg.
Thank you, Simon Pegg. Yeah, I just couldn't say the name. Mush. They have such a wonderful relationship just in life, and they work so well together that you can't not laugh. And they're wonderful. I wish the third movie in the Cornetto trilogy were better. I don't love End of the World, but I love Hot Fuzz and I love Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, a bunch of people are saying, I can't believe it's 20 years old. It is. Edgar Wright has done a couple of screenings in different cities all over the world to sort of celebrate it. It's just so funny. Of course you love it, Dave. It's one of my husband's favorite movies, Shaun of the Dead. And he quotes so many lines from it, especially You Have Red on You. He loves that one, but it's just, it's so good.
I like American Werewolf in London quite a lot.
Yeah.
And when I showed it in my class some years ago, it was because J.J. Abrams was a fan.
Yeah.
And he agreed to come to the class to talk about that film.
Yeah.
He answered questions about Star Wars and all that other stuff too. But the impetus to get him there was to screen that film.
Yeah. And it's it makes me happy that it's still so good. Because I love it. You know how sometimes you revisit a movie and you go, oh man, it's not as good as I wanted. And so when it is, Dave's asking if you liked Last Night in Soho. I really wanted to like it.
I liked the first third immensely.
Yeah.
Immensely.
Yeah.
I think that the big dance scene in the club there is a work of genius, truly. And I think it goes off the rails.
Yeah. Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Was that something that you liked? Is that one of the ones that you like? Doctor saying no one likes the last one. I'd say World's End is not terrible. It's just unfortunate because I want it to be better. Dave says I was let down. Yeah. Again, well, part of it, I really like Edgar Wright in general. I did not like Babyface. Is that what it was called?
Baby Driver.
Baby Driver. Thank you, Baby Driver. I didn't like Baby Driver. And I'll tell you very specifically why I did not like it. One of the things, and my dad has expressed it perfectly over the years, and that is why I'm aware of it. If you set up a premise and then ignore the premise, it doesn't work.
Yep.
So if you tell me, and this is exactly what you said when you watched not enough sleep. I'm genuinely sorry that my brain is so mushy. Christopher Nolan, The Time.
Oh yeah.
That one.
Right.
The thing with the stuff.
Time,
that one.
Time thing.
That's it.
Yeah.
So if you say, as they do in Baby Driver, we never use the same person twice. We never do all of these things. We never do blah, 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 blah. And then you do all of them. You're like, but you just told me that you don't do all of these things for Tenet. Thank you, Dave. That's not the one, but it does that in Tenet as well. It's the other one let me just look it up because it's my brain. It's the mind is a terrible thing to waste, but yeah, that's something that I always feel. Inception. Thank you, Craig. 1,000 points to Craig. Inception. That was the problem that he had with Inception, is he said, you've given us all these things.
The jump. If you miss the jump at 12, it's all over.
It's all over.
That's it. It's disaster. We can't miss the jump. They missed the jump. Oh, we'll do another one.
Can't do that, guys. Don't tell me a thing and then take the thing away. I'm just saying. Liz says, I just want to mention this because you liked it so much. Liz is saying, have you read Don Perry and Pete Docter's new book, Directing at Disney? Yes, we've talked about it a few times, but it's worth repeating. You loved it.
A great book.
You loved it. And we got to tell him.
A great addition to my Disney bookshelf, which is sagging
from
the weight of all the new books that keep coming out. Because this one is truly exceptional.
Yeah.
It explains the role of a director at Disney during the short subject years of the 30s, and then during the feature film years to follow. And it paints very blunt, unretouched portraits of Ben Sharpstein and all these other names that I knew, but never really knew about. What did they do? When The Three Little Pigs became such a sensation, a New York producer named Van Buren hired away the man who directed it, Burt Gillette, thinking, okay, that's the secret sauce. That's what's making these Walt Disney cartoons so great. It wasn't. Burt Gillette couldn't deliver. Same thing happened with David Hand, who directed Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. He sold a British producer on doing a series of cartoons in the 40s. They weren't successful. David Hand didn't have anything to, he didn't have the goods. He didn't have the wherewithal to produce something as original or as universal in its appeal as what Walt did. Walt had it. Walt had it. Well, even Ub Iwerks right at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Pat Powers, a kind of a slick character who was involved in it.
It's a great name, though, Pat Powers.
Yeah. Pat Powers hired Ub Iwerks away to do Flip the Frog and Willy Whopper and color classics in the 30s. And Iwerks was something of a genius as an animator and as an engineer and as a thinker of ideas, an originator of inventions. They literally were inventions, like the multiplaying camera and other things of that sort. But he was not cut out to be a studio boss, and he was not the one to originate stories that would have broad appeal. That's what Walt did. And it's no insult to any of those guys who function beautifully in the Disney world, the Disney arena. But that's what this book that Pete Docter and Don Perry have written clarifies. And they do it very, very well. They've been working on it over 10 years, and it shows. Really, really good.
And there you have it.
I think it's called Directing at Disney.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever talked about this, but how do you feel about Princess and the Frog replacing Splash Mountain at Disneyland?
Well, not great, because I love Song of the South, and I don't see any reason to remove Brer Rabbit and Brer Fox and Brer Bear from that ride. But that ride evokes memories or associations with a movie that is a hot button
Piranha.
Yeah.
Just say Piranha to people. I don't mind them changing the ride in a general sense. Like if you want, because that movie has been, hidden away so many years ago. I don't have a problem with the ride as is, but I also do think it's quite funny to sort of change it this late in the game. Like you could have done this at any point if the argument was, we don't use Song of the South. I would also point out that most people had no idea that's what the ride was about. Most people that took it did not even realize that.
Exactly.
Which is very amusing.
Because the songs of this thing.
Yeah.
How do you do?
But that's it. How do you do?
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
All that and coming around and the rabbits. People don't know. So did I think it was important? Not particularly, but if it hurts people's feelings, I guess go for it.
Yeah.
I have heard that the new version of it with Princess and the Frog is just not very well done. I've had multiple people saying they don't think they did a very good job with the switch. As I say, I would rather them have just said, hey, we want to update the ride so that it reflects something more recent for us,
Something that people can, the customers can relate to.
Princess Tiana, we love, and it made sense for where it is that you want to make it a New Orleans type of a thing. Fine. But I would have gone more that than, Splash Mountain is the devil kind of a thing. But people are crazy. What are you going to do? The magic of political correctness. That's about the size of it. Again, look, we always say the same thing over and over again, which is everybody's allowed to feel however it is that they want to feel about something. If something hurts your feelings, then do not do that thing.
Yeah.
If something upsets you, do not do that thing, because that nobody should feel that way. Simultaneously, the entire world does not have to shift to make you feel better. So maybe sometimes it's okay if we just decide that we can't do something, as opposed to because I don't like it, nobody else can like it.
Yeah. Can you reach up and get Gary Cooper?
Hmm?
No? Yeah. Yes.
Hmm?
Yes. All right.
Can you phrases that in other houses might sound strange? In mine, can you reach up and grab Gary Cooper? Sure, I can.
Some years ago, good many years ago, Alice and I went to a display at Bergamot Station in Santa Monica, a defunct railroad depot, where they had a display of sculptures by Vernon Kilns. Vernon Kilns was a Los Angeles-based company that did a lot of Disney merchandise for Fantasia in particular, and the early 40s stuff. We have a baby Weems from The Reluctant Dragon, and we have some mushrooms from Fantasia, and that dish over there is from Fantasia.
Yeah, mushroom dish.
Yeah. But they also did sculpts of movie stars.
You have a number of them now.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
The ones that we missed years ago were at an auction. They were going for so much money. I just couldn't, Mommy, and I just couldn't justify spending what it was going to take. We have one of Gary Cooper from Northwest Mounted Police, I think. But is that where this one was from?
Can I help?
Yes, it is. Okay. So this is a seated Gary Cooper from Northwest, Cecil B. DeMille's Northwest Mounted Police. And you know that toys and puppets and...
it says approved by Gary Cooper.
It does.
Sculpted by Janice
Pettit. Yep.
Copyright 1940. Let's see, Dusty Rivers, Northwest Mounted Police, a Paramount Pictures.
Yep. So it was licensed by everybody. Paramount got their cut. Gary Cooper, we don't know if they cut him in or not.
Oh, Nick says there's a French museum doing a limited exhibit of those porcelain Disney figures.
Ooh,
that's cool.
That's nice. Anyway, facial detail was very hard to achieve, apparently, in olden times. So if you see puppets and other figurines, they often don't quite get them right. I think this is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And they did, from the same film, they did Paulette Goddard, Robert Preston, I think Madeline Carroll. They did Wallace Beery from, not from Viva Villa, but from a later film, minor film. And they did Betty Davis from All This in Heaven too. And they did, I'm looking over there to see.
There were the rest of your guys.
Yeah.
They're her.
Yeah. Which I don't understand. Evelyn Venable.
There you go.
Who was the voice of the Blue Fairy, but not a star by the time they did these. And then the other one that's upstairs that I can't remember.
They have a few of them.
We'll show more. My favorite of them all, I'll show next time, I promise.
Which one is your favorite?
Victor McLaughlin.
Yeah.
In costume for the Informer.
Yeah. I think that's your biggest one too, physically.
Yeah.
He's the big guy.
Anyway, don't buy these if you see them, because I want them. Years ago, the first antique price guides were done by a couple called the Covels. And we caught on to the Covels' dirty little secret. The stuff that they already had, they valued very high. And the stuff that they still wanted, they valued very low.
I mean, it's genius.
It is.
It's genius. But also, are Are these yours or Scott's?
Not mine.
My husband randomly has 2 pins. The room that we're in is the room my husband tends to occupy because it's where he plays video games. But on his desk, he has a pin that says sheriff and a pin that says deputy, which just amuses me.
Not likely.
No.
No.
I will say, just as a child PSA, whooping cough is going around a lot of places at the moment. My daughter Daisy's school has actually closed this coming week, because a bunch of kids have whooping cough. So just be aware. Thankfully, most of us are vaccinated against it, but you can still catch it, and it just sort of exists as a cough that won't go away. So thank goodness all the little kids at her school who do have it have mild symptoms. They just can't stop coughing, but nothing worse than that. Thanks God, nothing worse than that. So yeah, just be aware. And if you have a persistent cough, or if there is a child around you that has a persistent cough, get them tested. They need to start an antibiotic treatments, and their grown-ups might also need to do treatment, and otherwise it just won't go away. So from me to you.
And yes, I'm aware that Evelyn Venable was
the model for the Columbia.
reportedly the model for the Columbia lady, along with all the other people who claim to have been the model for the Columbia lady. I met her, actually. She was married to the great cinematographer Hal Moore, M-O-H-R, Hal Moore. And he's one of the 5 men I interviewed for my book, The Art of the Cinematographer. So, and she was teaching, I think, advanced English at UCLA, or English literature, or something like that. She reinvented herself.
Wild.
Yeah.
Thank you guys, as always, for joining us. High holidays are Friday into Saturday, so Sunday should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yep.
Yes. So we will see you next Sunday. Everybody, please take care of yourselves. Again, the whooping cough thing, just saying. Get treated if you need to get treated, because you just don't want it. It's super contagious and it won't go away. So for your safety and those you love's safety, take good care of yourself. Bye, Dave. Bye, friends.
Be kind, everybody.